Hey guys, it's Suresh. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning into another video with me today. Well, I am back on YouTube after a little bit of a break. The last video I filmed, I think, was about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago. And I have to be honest with you guys, it's been very, very difficult to stay motivated, to be creative, to talk about dolls at a time like this. As we know, the world is in a very crazy place right now. Hundreds of thousands of people have died all over the world. We now have this huge unrest happening in the United States and slowly kind of spreading all around the world with the Black Lives Matter movement. I think many of us are sad. I mean, all of us should be sad, really, and confused and trying to figure out what the best way is to contribute, to be a positive voice for change, to champion change. In my small way, I'm going to focus and feature a bunch of beautiful Black dolls that I have. I firmly believe that small changes add up to big changes. Small things that we can all do as members of the doll community. We need to start buying more Black dolls. I've said this before, I've said it for years. We need to start buying more Black dolls because we cannot complain about there being a lack of diversity in the doll community if we as consumers are not changing our buying patterns. If you look through my feed and you look at the videos that I've done of Black dolls over the past 4 years that I've been doing this, there's a trend that the viewership tends to be lower than my other doll reviews, namely my white doll reviews. I've always found that very troubling and very sad. If you look at the engagement, the comment section is generally a little bit less. And you will find people being more critical of the doll, sometimes skirting around racism, prejudice. I cannot tell you the amount of comments I've deleted that are just straight up racist. I have never been, nor will I ever be, okay with blatant racism in any way, shape, or form. Like, I've dealt with it my entire life. My entire life in every country that I've lived in, and I've lived on multiple continents since I was born. And I've never been okay with racism. It's not okay. As we go through these beautiful Black dolls that I have planned for us over the coming weeks, both here and on my Instagram, I encourage you guys to go check out my Instagram. I'm gonna be doing some IGTVs there, which don't always translate here. I encourage you to try and be open-minded. I encourage you to be more loving, perhaps, than usual. I encourage you to leave comments that are constructive. And if you have a critique, be gentle and be kind. There is always a way to be critical while being gentle and kind. If you leave a comment that is blatantly rude, if you leave a comment that is blatantly racist, if you leave a comment that is blanket or veiled in racism or prejudice of any kind, I will delete that comment, I will block you from my channel, and I will report you for harassment. So I am not even shy about that. This is my channel, this is my space. You don't get to come here and make a fool of yourself and other people. That's just not okay with me. With all that in mind, I would like to begin today's review. We're gonna talk about a beautiful doll from the Barbie Inspiring Women series. She is the gorgeous Rosa Parks Barbie. She is a Barbie signature doll, and she comes in beautiful packaging just like so. Very unfortunately, my doll had a little bit of a tumble in my doll room a few weeks ago. I was cleaning out my doll room and a big box fell on her and kind of crushed the box a little bit. So that's the bit of damage you see here, unfortunately, but she is modeled after the famous Rosa Parks. On the back of the box here, we see a beautiful, iconic image of Rosa Parks sitting in the bus, along with a brief history of her activism. The box itself is a beautiful red box. It's simple in its design, but there are some beautiful like floral motifs here on the sides with her name, which I believe is also the logo of the foundation. Box, of course, is beautiful to display if you are an in-box collector, but you guys know that I can't do in-box collecting, so we're gonna open it up and take a look at her today. So for those of you who are not too familiar with American history or perhaps don't really know who Rosa Parks is, she was a civil rights activist in Montgomery, Alabama. In 1955, she was riding a bus home from work and refused to give up her seat to a white passenger. The buses at the time were segregated. White passengers sat in the front, black passengers sat in the back. She was sitting in the front row of the back portion, but the bus was getting too full, and when the bus driver asked her to get up and give her seat, she refused. And that one quiet act of bravery and defiance set off an entire movement, the Montgomery bus boycott, as it was known, where the entire population of Black people living in Montgomery at the time refused to take public transportation and take the bus. And that ended up resulting in multiple different legislations coming into place. So the box flap is taped shut. When you cut the tape open, it opens up just like so. We're going to very gently pull her out of the box here. Ta-da! There we go. All right, so that's the empty box right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put that aside. And then behind her here, we see her certificate of authenticity. She is a Black label doll, and she has the standard beautiful Black label certificate there. That, of course, is taped down. And then we see her doll stand in that same little bag, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off here. And that is the back of the box with all the little plastic contraptions that are holding the doll in place. Here is the little bag that has the certificate of authenticity and the doll stand base in it. It's not a weighted base. It feels very much like a standard Model Muse type of base. And then we see the acrylic clear stand here on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, depending on where you're looking at it. And then the little clip that goes around her waist, there it is. It's hiding underneath that little stand portion there. If you are a collector and you are, interested in adding a little bit of diversity to your doll collection, this kind of a doll would be a beautiful addition. Of course, if you have a son or a daughter who loves dolls, I think this doll would be fantastic to give them. Not only are they, able to play and make believe and have fun with a doll, but it's actually a real life person, which is really amazing. My parents have always instilled in me that it's never too early to start being an activist. All right, so her little coat is actually tacked down here to the cardboard. So I'm gonna very gently take that out as well. Here, Miss Rosa is out of the box. This is what the box looks like without her in it. She has that sheet of plastic here in the back that's molded to her. Her ponytail is wound through it, and then there are little plastic tabs attached to her head. So we will go ahead and take all that off. Her purse is held in place with a little plastic tie as well. Her coat is actually tacked in the front. There's one little stitch there and one little stitch up here. It's actually not stitched. It's those little plastic tabs coming together. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually cut that off because I want the coat to be open. And since there are no buttons, there technically wouldn't be a closure. So let's go ahead and get these tabs off of her head here. So what we're gonna do is hold her head taut and make sure we grab all the little plastic tabs, and then in one sweep, we're just gonna pull it out. 1, 2, and 3. Ta-da! And they come off all in sync at once and does not do damage to her head. There is her beautiful coat, just like that. And then I see Velcro here in the back. The coat is definitely leaving lint all over her arms, but her cute little dress. Oh. Here is Rosa Parks Barbie up close and personal for you guys to get a better look at her. She is fully dressed right out of the box. And I have to say the ensemble is definitely very appropriate. It's time and period appropriate, and it's very similar to what Rosa Parks would have worn. She has this beautiful gray wool coat. It's a shawl collared coat, goes down to her knees like so, has 2 pockets there on the sides, and it is cuffed here at her wrist, a very popular style worn by women in the 1950s. Her little dress is adorable as well. It's a floral print dress. It's also what now I see inspires the side of the box. Gotcha, okay, beautiful. She has little white gloves on there of that same white tricot fabric that we often see a lot of Barbie gloves made in. And then she has a little clutch here as well, a little black clutch. We've seen this clutch before actually in the City Shine collection for the Barbie look. I've seen this in silver and in gold before. This one is in black. It is plasticed to her wrist, and I'm gonna keep it there for the time being because I wanted you guys to be able to see it. Here are her cute little shoes. They are high-heeled boots with a modest and chunky heel, lace up here in the front. I feel like if Mrs. Parks saw this, I would want to believe that she would feel very proud about it because she's adorable. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can take some of her pieces off here so that we can get a closer look at it. The coat for sure comes off just like so. Oh, darling. Okay, just like that. And then there she is without the coat on. So just like that, in her sweet little gloves and her little knee-length dress here, just like so. Gorge, right? And then here she is from the back. The dress is a Velcro opening and closing. I think that's pretty standard and to be expected at this level of signature dolls. These are considered collector, but they're also meant to kind of inspire play and, you know, get kids and grown-ups to open them up and play with them. I'm gonna go ahead and take the dress apart. Comes off just like that in the back. And yeah, pretty straightforward cotton dress, like nothing too crazy about it. Obviously, this doll's impact is not particularly in the fashion, it's more in the overall delivery and, you know, who she represents and what she stands for, right? Here is Rosa Parks Barbie in the buff so that you guys can get a better look. Let's start with the face. So she does have glasses and a little pillbox hat here. The glasses are affixed to the side of her head, right above her ear, with a little bit of brown thread. I am not going to take that off because that would make a bit of a mess and the glasses would then be kind of impossible to put back on. So they do move around on her face, obviously, and they slide up and down here on the stitches, as you see. So yeah, that's that, but she does have a beautiful face. Let's see if we can just lift this up just for a tiny bit to see her face. There we go, there are her eyes, beautiful big brown eyes, thick, dark brown, blackish sort of eyebrows. Very simple and subtle makeup, which is true to how she was, and a nice mauve muted lip there with a big smile. And we'll put the glasses back down. They are cute little clear glasses, frameless at least from what I can see, or to look like at least, or minimal frame, low profile frame, shall we say. Her hair is a combo of black and brown. It's tied into a ponytail there, and the ponytail is kind of curled underneath just like so. The hair feels pretty gelled, so just a heads up on that. And it is nice and neat in its tie there. Close-up of the pillbox hat for you to see the little white plastic molded flower. The whole thing is actually molded plastic, and it is stapled to her head with little black plastic staples there. There are little baby hairs drawn around her forehead, which I think is adorable. She does look definitely a bit more youthful than Rosa Parks did at this time. Rosa Parks was actually in her 40s when she made this big monumental move on the bus. So the doll definitely looks like she's more like in her 20s maybe. But I guess that's the magic of Barbie, right? She makes you feel young and look young when you are through her lens. And then here is the body. It is an articulated body. It moves here at the shoulder, and then here at the elbow, and then here at the wrist. The hands do not come off from what I can see or know. I've never really tried pulling these hands off. I'm sure they come off. I've never really been a fan of these moving bodies that Mattel does. I just find them to be a little bit elementary, especially now that I've seen Integrity articulation. But all the same, you know, for what they're intended for, I think they are nice. The elbows do move out just like so, so there is a pretty good range of motion, and it's a nice swift move as well. It's not too stiff or sturdy. The one thing that I just find weird is this joint right here. I mean, this upper arm just looks so large compared to this, and this ball joint doesn't seem proportioned, and it's going in. So, I mean, yeah, that's that. I don't think I've shied away from talking about not loving the articulation that Mattel does. It reminds me of what we see on Silkstones, right? Like that kind of skinny arm. But yeah, and then her torso reminds me of what I've seen on Fashionistas before. She does have molded underwear on as well, just like that. And then she has the markation of a little belly button there. It's that very glossy plastic that is very shiny. Her face is not so shiny, so the vinyl there is a little bit different. And then scrolling down to her thighs, there's an interesting mark here. I don't know if the camera is able to catch this, but from here to here, from right above her knee to right below her knee, there is a muted area where the plastic is almost like coated looking. So I'm not entirely sure what that is about. Yeah, I think you can see that actually pretty well. It's misaligned on the legs, so it's not something like, oh, we're making this for like a short and a tall boot, and this is what's going to be exposed. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. However, I assume there is a logic and reasoning behind it. That's what her knee looks like when it is bent. It's that standard articulated knee that we see Mattel do with the little plastic mechanism in there, just like so. And then let's see how far out the legs kick. So there we go. Not too far at all. Not a huge range of motion, but all the same. There are her little toes. There are no real marks of a toe. There's like a slight indentation of a toe. And then it is a high-heeled foot there. And then I left one of the shoes on so that you can see it on her. Yeah, it's the plastic shoe, pretty standard with the little slit in the back. And I will tell you, like, seeing Asha interact and play with her Barbies, and you know, now she has many of them because of me, it's interesting how she engages and plays with these dolls. And I'm understanding why they make these dolls the way they do, because though we as adult collectors are thinking from it, you know, from our vantage point, and we want to collect them as collector dolls, you guys, they really are intended for a bit of a younger audience, I think, you know? So yeah, there she is, adorable, cute, lightweight, and all that jazz. Here is Rosa's sweet little cotton dress. It has such a humble, almost like homemade feel to it, which I think is beautiful. It definitely does have a very late 40s and 50s, early 50s silhouette to it, with the very short sleeve there and the round neckline, very modest in its delivery, form-fitting, of course, throughout the waist, and there is some darting action that is happening here. It actually looks like it's two pieces sewn into one dress here. We see the seam at the waist, like so. No specific darting or pleating here on the skirt, and it looks like it's multiple paneled. So we see one panel here, one panel here. There's the side seam, and then the front is one panel all by itself. And then the top is one panel here in the front, and then I see a side seam there, and one panel here and one panel here. All right, so 3 panels on the top, 4 on the bottom. The whole stitching area is done with white thread, so it does blend in relatively seamlessly. The Velcro is sewn in just like so. It's one strap just like that, or one strip I should say. And then here is the inside, quite basic. I mean, no lining and nothing super glamorous here. I don't think this collection of Inspiring Women is meant to be like super high-end collector. So, you know, it is what it is. Just like so. The construction is neat though, the tailoring is neat, it's nicely done. This fabric, of course, is relatively easy to work with. It's almost paper-like, kind of taffeta-like in its composition, so not too hard to sew. Yeah, I mean, the neckline here is done quite nicely. The sleeve, the armholes are done quite nicely. So, you know, for what it is, I think it is lovely and simple. It's difficult to aspire and critique this as we would like, you know, a true designer doll, but it is marketed as a black label doll, so keep that in mind, not gold label or anything higher. Here is her beautiful wool jacket. It's not lined or heavily decorated at all. The construction from the inside looks quite straightforward and very simple. The seams here aren't even pressed down, and generally they would be ironed down like this, which what that would do is kind of make this look a little bit cleaner from the outside. But again, I don't think this is the line of dolls that they're like paying specific attention to in terms of that type of detail. Because I can assure you, if I gave this to Asha to play with, she would not be looking at the stitching. But yeah, I mean, it's neatly done. It looks like this is actually, is it sewn or glued? Nope, it's sewn. There is a little bit of gray thread going across it. So yeah, I mean, minimal in construction. We see her Barbie signature tag right there. It's 3 different panels here coming together. The sleeve is set in on its own, so that's lovely. We see the mark of a pocket here on either side of the jacket, but it's actually not a real pocket because there is no actual pocket. We see a little bit of a facing here coming from the front, but it's not finished off or anything like that. It's a beautiful shawl collar here that is draping all the way down almost to her waist there, just like so. No closures on the coat. The sleeves are cuffed here. They do roll down just like so to reveal a little bit of like an interfacing type fabric down here. So yeah, let's go ahead and bring those cuffs back up. The fabric is like a very soft wool blend designed to look more like wool, but it feels, yeah, it feels like a very soft, lightweight blended wool that has, you know, various other fabrics in it to kind of keep it stable. So yeah, again, very reminiscent of what women in the 50s wore, with that soft draped shoulder and kind of a blouson type of effect, slightly oversized even. Yeah, nice little piece. Here is a close-up of her shoe. It's a little high-heeled lace-up boot. Everything is molded into one piece, so it's not like hand sewn or anything like that. It has the little mini slit here in the back, which enables her to get in and out of it quite easily. It's quite squishy and, you know, moldable. And again, seeing Asha put her shoes on her dolls, you know, at 2.5 years old, I see why they make the shoes the way they do. Again, the audience for these dolls are not really us. They're for a younger audience, but all the same, the detail is quite nice. You see the perforation going around the lacing area. The lacing detail itself is quite nice. You even see the little bow that the lace is tied in. The heel you see is carved out separately with the little outsole detail here as well. So yeah, it's a sweet little shoe. It's like in a dark charcoaly kind of gray. And then here is her little clutch. It's black and it's the same clutch that we've seen before in a lot of Barbie look collections. I have the same exact piece in silver and in gold. And actually, I think I even have it in like that copper color that they did for one of the dolls. But it does not open, so it's not a functioning clutch. And it does have kind of like that croc effect to it. I find it to be a slight mismatch to this whole ensemble, and I don't know that Rosa Parks would have carried something quite like this. All the same, I do appreciate that she has a bag and it kind of completes her look, right? So there we have it, guys. This is the beautiful Rosa Parks Barbie from the Inspiring Women series that Barbie is doing. She is a beautiful doll and a lovely replica of the beloved Mrs. Rosa Parks, who was a pioneer and trailblazer in the American Civil Rights Movement. If you are looking to add a beautiful doll to your collection that has much more meaning than perhaps a fictional character, I definitely recommend that you get this doll, especially at a time like now where we're seeing so much political unrest in the country and in the world. I think it's important that we all stand by our love of dolls and support those dolls that may not be getting a lot of traction otherwise. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that you learned something. Please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to hit that little bell icon when you subscribe. That way you guys will be notified every Thursday when I upload a new video. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at SureshNY. That's generally where I post all my updates, including spontaneous IGTV videos of me and my niece Asha. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Big hugs and kisses from me and Rosa Parks Barbie here in Seattle. Mwah! And I'll see you guys again next week for another video, okay? Bye.